What's good with y'all, bro? It's your boy Skylight, and we back again with another video. Uh, Today I want to share with y'all some information from this book that I'm reading called Behold a Pale Horse by William Cooper. Um, I've been reading this book for a while. I'm still reading it, but I want to share with y'all some information that kind of stood out to me. Um, so basically, in chapter 1, it talks about this thing called the silent weapon. It's called the silent weapon for quiet wars. Let me show y'all. So basically, the silent weapon is a subjective biological weapon. A weapon, subjective meaning self versus self. Yourself influencing your actions, influencing the way you think. It's basically you versus you. Everything is being done within your mind. Let me see. I'm gonna read first paragraph. It is patently impossible to discuss social engineering or the automation of a society, the engineering of social automation systems, silent weapons, on a national or worldwide scale without implying extensive objectives of social control and destruction of human life, slavery, and genocide. So basically what that first paragraph is saying, they're saying it is nearly impossible to control a large amount of people without the use of the silent weapon, without the use of social control, without the use of using fear to control a large amount of people. Again, they use the destruction of human life, slavery, and genocide. Slavery and genocide. I'm gonna keep reading. This manual is in itself an analog declaration of intent. Such a writing must be secured from public scrutiny. Public scrutiny means kept away from, right? They don't want people seeing this. You know what I mean? The public's attention. They don't want the public knowing information like this. Otherwise, it might be recognized as a technically formal declaration of domestic war. Furthermore, whenever any person or group of persons in a position of great power without full knowledge and consent of the public uses such knowledge and methodology for economic conquest, it must be understood that a state of domestic warfare exists between said person or group of persons and the public. Basically, nigga, the silent weapon is so advanced. We're already in the middle of a World War III, right? We're already in the middle of a new world war, but we don't know it. It's not physical. This shit it's not a physical war. It's mental. It's spiritual. It's emotional. It's very, very advanced. The average person could not pick up on this if they don't meditate and raise their vibration and level of consciousness. This goes to show that we are so dumbed down. We are so dumbed down by entertainment, food, the fluoride in water, just in general, bro. Jobs, man, education. We are so dumbed down that we don't understand that our small problems are only their it's their energy source. It's their fuel. Our small problems is their fuel for control. You know, uh, let me see. Um, okay, let me. This manual is in itself an analog declaration of intent. Such a writing must be secured from public scrutiny. Otherwise, it might be recognized as a technically formal declaration of domestic war. Furthermore, whenever any person or group of persons in a position of great power and without full knowledge and consent of the public uses such knowledge and methodology for economic conquest, it must be understood that a state of domestic warfare exists between said person or group of persons and the public. The solution of today's problems requires an approach which is ruthlessly candid, with no agonizing over religious, moral, or cultural values. Given that the people that have total control of this shit, right? They have no solidified beliefs. You know, they don't have religions. They don't have morals. They don't have cultural values. In order to maintain control, right? They don't favor or latch onto any belief systems, right? Because if they do, again, that sets limitations, and that sets it sets limitations, and a religious person could not make most of the decisions that these elite people make, right? Your morals could not make these crazy, like, evil decisions that the elite people make. They don't have any culture. They don't have any beliefs that we have, right? All of these beliefs and religions and cultures, all this shit is a tool that they use to control us. It's a tool that they use to control us. It's basically what they're saying. Let me see. You have qualified for this project because of your ability to look at human society with cold objectivity. Cold objectivity. Hold on. Is the concept of truth independent from individual subjectivity? Proposition is considered to have objective truth. Objective. Forgot what that shit means. A person, or they're good, not influenced by personal feelings. Right. Okay. So that's what. Okay. You have qualified for this project, right? This page is sort of like the initiation, I guess, of you joining. I don't know, like the Illuminati or some shit, or like of you joining a secret group within these elite circles. It's like initiation or some shit. I don't know. But it says you have qualified for this project because of your ability to look at human society with cold objectivity, meaning that you're not influenced, right, by personal feelings, right? You're not influenced by personal feelings or opinions, right? You don't let your opinions or personal feelings, like, you basically have no heart, right? You're cold, like you have no feelings towards anything, right? You're able to make very hard decisions. You know what I mean? Decisions that could cost the lives of millions of people, right? It's crazy as hell. And yet analyze and discuss your observations and conclusions with others of similar intellectual capacity without a loss of discretion or humility. Such virtues are exercised in your own best interests. Do not deviate from them. Let me read that shit again. And yet analyze and discuss your observations and conclusions with others of similar intellectual capacity without a loss of discretion or humility. Meaning, remember when, nigga, you remember when Thanos was like, uh, the hardest choices require the strongest wills? This is what this shit is. That's what the elite. That's what the elites are basically. The elites are basically a whole bunch of Thanoses, right? The hardest decisions require the strongest wills. Is basically what this whole entire thing is saying. If you're going to be initiated, if you're going to join these cults, if you're going to join these secret societies, you have to be willing to do what they to follow through with these agendas without um, any feelings. You know, your feelings are gone. You're not human anymore, right? You don't feel anymore. You only act and you only follow through with the agenda. Social control. Social control, bro. Social control again is them using fear. You know, social control is them using fear. They can control groups using fear, or it doesn't even have to be fear. It can be, I don't know, through advertisements, right? Through normalizing things within a large population, a large group of people. Let me go to the next page. Alright. Okay, so historical introduction. Silent weapon technology has evolved from operations research, a strategic and tactical methodology developed under the military management Eisenhower in England during World War II. The original purpose of operations research was to study the strategic and tactical problems of air and land defense with the objective of effective use of limited military resources against foreign enemies. It was soon recognized by those in positions of power, the elites, the Council on Foreign Relations, that the same methods might be useful to totally control a society. Us, nigga. But better tools were necessary. Social engineering, the analysis and automation of a society. The social engineering, the studying of a society and being able to understand them, to control them, right? They understand what we love, and they use that to control us. They understand what we fear, and they use that to control us, right? Requires the correlation of great amounts of constantly changing economic information data. So a high-speed computerized data processing system was necessary, which could race ahead of the society and predict when society would arrive for capitulation. Capitulation. Shit. Relay computers were too slow, but the electronic computer invented in 1946 by J. Presper Eckert and John W. Mauchly filled the bill. The next breakthrough was the development of the simplex method of linear programming in 1947 by the mathematician George B. Dantzig. Then in 1948, the transistor invented by J. Bardeen, W. H. Brentain, and W. Shockley promised great expansion of the computer field by reducing space and power requirements. With these three inventions under their direction, those in positions of power strongly suspected that it was possible for them to control the whole world with the push up a button. Immediately, the Rockefeller Foundation got in on the ground floor by making the... If you don't know the Rockefellers, bro, these niggas are some of the richest motherfuckers, one of the richest family bloodlines on this planet. You look them up. They control a lot of the wealth. Making a 4-year grant to Harvard College, funding the Harvard Economic Research Project for the study of the structure of the American economy. 1 year later, in 1949, the United States Air Force joined in. In 1952, the original grant period terminated, and a high-level meeting of the elite Illuminati was held to determine the next phase of social operations research. The Harvard Project had been very fruitful, as it is borne out by the publication of some of its results in 1953, suggesting the feasibility of economic social engineering. Studies in the structure of the American economy, copyrighted 1953 by Wesley Leontief, International Sciences Press, engineered in the last half of the decade in the 1940s. The new Quiet War machine stood, so to speak, in sparkling gold-plated hardware on the showroom. Let me see. I'm probably not even making sense right now. I'm just reading this shit. With the creation of the Master in 1954, the promise of unlocking unlimited sources of fusion atomic energy from the heavy hydrogen in seawater and the consequent availability of unlimited social power was a possibility and only decades away. The combination was irresistible. The Quiet War was quietly declared by the international elite, the Bilderberg Group, another rich-ass family that runs a lot of the wealth. At a meeting held in 1954, although the silent weapons system was nearly exposed 13 years later, the evolution of new weapon system has never suffered any major setbacks. This volume marks the 25th anniversary of the beginning of the Quiet War. Already, this domestic war has made victories on many fronts throughout the world. Again, bro, the Quiet War is something that we are experiencing. The Quiet War is our everyday life. The Quiet War is World War III. World War III is a mental, it's a spiritual, psychological warfare. It's not physical. It's so advanced. It's not physical that we're doing it to ourselves. Again, think about it. Race war is still happening. Corona is a great example of that shit. It's biological warfare, right? Biological warfare, meaning that hold on. Biological warfare, also known as germ warfare, is the use of biological toxins or infectious agents such as bacteria, viruses, insects, and fungi with the intent to kill or incapacitate humans, animals, or plants as an act of war. These niggas, this is World War III. We're already in World War III. We just don't know it. We just don't know it. That's why everything is going to shit right now. It's a lot of shit going on, bro. It's a lot of shit going on, but you don't know that because why? You're blinded by entertainment. You're blinded by sweet lies. You're blinded by sweet lies. Let me see. It was only a matter of time, only a few decades, before the general public would be able to grasp and upset the cradle of power. For the very elements of the new silent weapon technology were as accessible for a public utopia as they were for providing a private utopia. The issue of primary concern, that of dominance, revolved around the subject of energy sciences. Again, when I tell y'all, energy is literally everything on this planet. I'm not kidding. Like, energy is energy. If they control your energy, they control you. Energy, bro, is so important into controlling a large population, bro. It's so important. You don't understand how important it is. Let me read this shit. Energy is recognized as the key to all activity on Earth. Natural science is the study of the sources and control of natural energy, and social science, theoretically expressed as economics, is the study of the sources and control of social energy, our energy, the control of social energy, our energy. Both are bookkeeping systems, mathematics. Therefore, mathematics is the primary energy science, and the bookkeeper can be king if the public can be kept ignorant of the methodology of the bookkeeping. Let me read that shit again. The bookkeeper, right? The bookkeeper can be king, right? The bookkeeper can be the bookkeeper as long as the public does not learn how to bookkeep. You know, let's say I can be CEO of Walmart as long as my employees don't have the drive, or they just don't care to become, the CEO of Walmart. If they don't want to learn how to become the CEO of Walmart, that's how you control niggas, right? So as long as the public is kept ignorant of the methodology of the bookkeeping, the bookkeeper will always reign, right? As long as we believe that a president should be over everything, as long as we believe that the president should be kept in power, right? Uh, we will, that person will always be in power, right? Fuck. All science is merely a means to an end. The means is knowledge. The end is control. The end is always justifies the means. Beyond this remains only one issue. Who will be the beneficiary? In 1954, this was the issue of primary concern. Although the so-called moral issues were raised in view of the law of natural selection, it was agreed that a nation or world of people who will not use their intelligence. Nigga, think of this shit, bro. In 1954, that was the issue of primary concern. Although the so-called moral issues were raised in view of the law of natural selection, it was agreed that a nation or world of people who will not use their intelligence are no better than animals who do not have intelligence. When I tell you niggas that you are powerful beyond measure, but we choose not to be because we're comfortable with where we're at. We're comfortable with the things they give us. We're comfortable with the electronics. We're comfortable with staying in the house. We're comfortable with not knowing what the fuck is actually going on. We're comfortable with the life that was given. They overstimulate us, right? They overstimulate us so that we don't give a fuck about what's really going on outside of the world that we live in. Let me see. Where did I leave off? Consequently, in the interest of future world order, peace, and tranquility, it was decided to privately wage a quiet war against the American public. Again, the quiet war is basically World War III. The quiet war is not physical, it's mental, spiritual, and emotional. It's draining people's energy to control them. It's making them have a low self-esteem, right? It's making them depend, right? That's what it is. It's a psychological. You're doing it to yourself. That's just the whole thing. It's a psychological thing. That's what the silent war is. You're doing it to yourself. They don't have to do anything. You know what I'm saying? They don't have to do anything because you're doing it to yourself. Again, race wars, corona, fear, nigga, jobs, whatever. This whole matrix is the quiet war. You know what I mean? Anything you believe in is the quiet war. Religions. Even there's religious wars, right? People arguing about who's right and who's wrong, right? We're doing it to ourselves. That's why the world is going fucking crazy nut bananas right now. Consequently, in the interest of future world order, peace, and tranquility, it was decided to privately wage a quiet war against the American public with an ultimate objective of permanently shifting the natural and social energy, wealth of the undisciplined and irresponsible many into the hands of the self-disciplined. Okay, think about that shit, bro. Think about that shit. They are able to control ignorant people who don't. Ignorant people will always be controlled. Ignorant people will always have to work under someone else. People who don't give a fuck, right? Like, ignorant people, right? It's basically what they're saying. Undisciplined minds, I guess. People who don't know better are always controlled by the people who supposedly knows better than these undisciplined people. I'll read that shit again. Consequently, in the interest of the future world order, peace, and tranquility, it was decided to privately wage a quiet war against the American public with an ultimate objective of permanently shifting the natural and social energy, wealth. They are manipulating your energy. Your energy. They're manipulating this, the collective conscious of everybody on this planet. Am I right? They are manipulating the social conscious, the collective conscience of everybody on this planet. Doing that through the news, right? The news, who's always spreading fear, who's always spreading bullshit that serves you no purpose. Their main objective is to keep you away from your higher self, to keep you away from your intelligence, to keep you away from your strengths, your superpowers. We all have superpowers. These elite motherfuckers, uh, they're able to control us is because we haven't reached our higher state. But they in a way, they sort of have. They have a higher knowing. They are the enlightened ones, right? They understand a lot. They understand how to control, right? They understand that. They have they have more knowledge than the average nigga that works at Walmart, supposedly, right? Let's see. It was necessary to create, secure, and apply new weapons, which is, as it turned out, were a class of weapons too subtle. Let me see. Here we go. In order to implement this objective, it was necessary to create, secure, and apply new weapons, which, as it turned out, were a class of weapons so subtle and so sophisticated in their principle of operation and public appearance as to earn for themselves the name silent weapons. In conclusion, the objective of economic research as conducted by the magnates of capital banking in the industries of commodities, goods, and services is the establishment of an economy which is totally predictable and manipulable. Everything that we see, everything that we know, all these religions, all these beliefs, all these jobs, all these systems is theirs. It's theirs, right? Again, that's why it is so easy. It's theirs, right? They're the owner. They're player one. They're player one in this motherfucker. They're player one. They are player one, so they understand all of this shit. They got the cheat book, whatever you call it. You know, when you play Grand Theft Auto, you know what I'm saying? You get one of them cheat codes or whatever, a book of cheat codes. That's what they have. This whole thing to them is a video game. This shit is a matrix, dog. This shit is a video game. Think about this shit. Hold on. Let me reread that shit. In order to implement this objective, it was necessary to create, secure, and apply new weapons, which is, as it turned out, were a class of weapons so subtle and sophisticated in their principle of operation and public appearance as to earn for themselves the name silent weapons. In conclusion, the objective of economic research as conducted by the magnates of capital banking in the industries of commodities, goods, and services. Commodities, goods, and services, right? The shit that the stores and shit, right? These corporations, these jobs and shit like that, is the establishment of an economy which is totally predictable. These niggas, they can predict this shit because they control it. They are player one, and they have the cheat book, right? They have the cheat codes into doing anything they want. This is their shit, right? Which is totally predictable and manipulable. In order to achieve a totally predictable economy, the low-class elements of the society must be brought under total control, must be housebroken, trained, and assigned a yoke and long-term social duties from a very early age, before they have an opportunity to question the property of the matter, propriety of the matter. Fuck it. In order to achieve such conformity, you have to conform into the shit, meaning that you have to accept, right? Accept everything that we believe in. We all have to accept it in our mind first, right? We have to believe in it within our mind. Everything that we know, we have to accept it. We have to believe in it first. It starts in the individual. Everything starts with the individual. It starts with the mind, and then it is manifested through objects and materials. Like, say I wanted to invent a laptop. I think of a laptop, right? I don't know, this shit might be random, might not make sense, but okay, say I want to make a laptop. You know, I picture how the laptop's gonna look, right? I want that shit to be black and red. You know what I mean? It's gonna be called the Predator. That's my idea. I know what it looks like, right? And then You might draw it, design it on a piece of paper, right? That's like the second step of manifestation, and then um, but in order for people to believe in it, right, you have to solidify it with material. Solidify that shit, and if you solidify it, I wanted to design a laptop that's black, red, and called Predator. You know what I mean? And I designed it on a piece of paper, and then now I create it, and here it is. Now people can believe in it. Predator is a thing now. It's a thing. It's a thing. It was first created in my mind. It was an idea at first, and now I designed it. I perfected it, and now it's a solid thing. Now that it's a solid thing, people can believe in it. People can touch it. People can feel it. People can look at it. People can lick it if they wanted to, right? Fuck. That's hold on. All right. Let's see. The quality of education given to the lower class must be the poorest sort, so that the moat. Listen to this shit. Hold on. I'm sorry. I skipped so much. In order to achieve totally predictable economy, the low-class elements of the society must be brought under total control. Must be housebroken, right? Domestic drama. That's another thing of psychological. Domestic drama is another way of keeping you distracted of what the fuck is actually going on. Trained, right? You're trained in certain systems, certain families, right? Each family has their own culture, right? And not just families. You're trained from a young age, right? You're not trained to think outside the box. You're trained to think in a certain system to keep you from thinking outside of the box, right? And assign a yoke in long-term social duties from a very early age, right? You're distracted from a very early age. You're taught to only listen. You're taught to have these dreams, and you're taught to have these ambitions of becoming this doctor, becoming this scientist, becoming something outside of yourself that keeps you distracted from what the fuck is actually going on, right? Let me see. I'm not saying there's a problem with being these things. What I'm saying is, as long as we stay distracted, these things will always continue. Like social control, like all this shit will always continue. Okay, let me see. In order to achieve such conformity means to fit in, to accept. The lower class family unit must be disintegrated by a process of increasing preoccupation of the parents and the establishment of government-operated daycare centers for the occupationally orphaned children. When I tell you, bro, when this shit is so strategic, it's so strategic, my guy. How this motherfucker was, how this world was created is so strategic. It's brilliant. Like, it's fucking brilliant. Like you can't knock them for how brilliant this world is. Like the system is, right? They're smart. They're masterminds of what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. They get us while we're really young, right? And again, like they said, it's a setup. It's a system. Okay, hold on. By a process increasing preoccupation of the parents, right? They know the parents is gonna be at work. They know the parents is, parents ain't got time to actually teach their kids. Parents don't have time to give their kids attention all the time, right? So what do? They create daycares. Daycares program the shit out of your kids, man. Daycares take the creativity from your kid and insert bots. That's where the bot programming is made. It's where it starts. It's in daycares and in kindergarten and shit. You're taught to sit down and listen, right? Or you're gonna be punished, right? That's where you gotta raise your hand to use the bathroom and shit, right? You can't just get up and go to the bathroom on your own will and shit like that. You're taught how to obey at a very young age, not to think outside the box, not to use your own creativity. Let me see. The quality of education given to the lower class must be of the poorest sort, so that the mote of ignorance isolating the inferior class from the superior class is and remains incomprehensible to the inferior class. With such an initial handicap, even bright lower class individuals have little, if any, hope of extracting themselves from their assigned lot in life. This form of slavery is essential. There's different forms of slavery, okay? Different forms of slavery. Slavery is not just what black people were, okay? It's not just what black people were. Slavery, you can be paid to be a slave now. That's what they're doing. This is what this is, right? That's why this is what this is. You're paid to build their empire. We're still building their empire. No matter how good you think your job is, no matter how much you're being paid, you're building their empire. Regardless of how you feel, regardless of what you think you're doing, you're building their empire, and you're okay with it because they're paying you that guap. You know what I'm saying? You getting that cheddar. You know what I'm saying? You paying the bills and all that shit. You paying the bills that they created. You're paying the bills that they created. It's a system. Even though you're giving money, you don't keep on. You're borrowing money. When you get that paycheck, nigga, you're borrowing money because all that money goes back to the system. It goes back. You pay these bills, man. You pay these. You pay every. You got to pay for groceries. You got to pay. You pay your whole paycheck back to the system, and that's how they keep your ass under control. That's how they keep your ass in these jobs, right? It's very strategic. I'm trying to tell y'all, it's very strategic. It's very intelligent. It's so brilliant that your mind would not be able to, I don't know, just pick up on it in this. In, I mean, like, you gotta understand this shit. That's why you gotta meditate. You gotta really understand this shit. You gotta do your own research. Let me see. With such an initial handicap, even bright. I read that shit. Descriptive introduction of the silent weapon. Everything that is expected from an ordinary weapon is expected from a silent weapon by its creators, but only in its own manner of junctioning. It shoots situations instead of bullets. Listen to this shit, bruh. This is so fucking important. This is so important. Listen to this, man. It shoots situations instead of bullets. This is describing the silent weapon. This is what the silent weapon is. This is a psychological and spiritual, emotional warfare. This is not physical. You know what I mean? They might threaten about WW3. They might say that. Like a couple months ago, they was talking about WW3, but that was only to keep niggas in fear. So, you know what I mean? To keep niggas fear. That's a form. That's another form of the silent weapon. All right, listen to this shit. It shoots situations instead of bullets, propelled by data processing instead of a chemical reaction explosion, originating from bits of data instead of grains of gunpowder, from a computer instead of a gun, operated by a computer programmer instead of a marksman, under the orders of a banking magnate instead of a military general. It makes no obvious explosive noises, causes no obvious physical or mental injuries, and does not obviously interfere with anyone's daily social life. Yet it makes an unmistakable noise, causes unmistakable physical and mental damage, and unmistakably interferes with daily social life. Unmistakable to a trained observer, one who knows what to look for. The public cannot comprehend this weapon. The public cannot comprehend this weapon. The public cannot comprehend